The second question has to do with website integration. I'm specifically not talking about social media writ large. That's my third question. The second question on website integration. So every time there's a breaking news event, and I'm not talking about a car chase or a white Bronco on the freeway, I go to the VOA websites, not just VOA English, but the other websites, those that I can sort of ascertain. Nobody would realize it, but I've actually studied 3 other languages, not that I can speak any of them. But and then I also use Google Translate to try and help me, and then I get the pictures and look at the general layout. And what I find surprising is what appears to be the lack of follow-up on the website of any event, and we lag significantly behind other media outlets, whether they would be our direct to tier 1 competitors, if you will, whether it's a CCTV, Russia Today, CNNI, BBC, whatever it's going to be. And then when we do file a story, it seems that it's thin at the least, and especially when I compare it to these other offerings. And so if I want to pick on VOA English website, and you make the comment that English is a #1 audience with 34 million, it seems to me that with English not only being a major audience for you, but being a lingua franca around the world, and if we want to build VOA as a premier news and information provider around the world, that there should be a greater integration and timeliness and completeness of news and information on the web, not just in English, but I'm just curious, how would you answer that? It just seems that the web overall is, and we've had these conversations offline.
Yeah.
How do you respond? What's working?
Well, you are talking, this is a resource question, Governor. We are a very small news organization in comparison to some of those that you just mentioned. That said, we have certain strengths. We are multilingual. We have deep knowledge of certain parts of the world beyond other people's. So what I'm trying to work on right now, what my senior leadership team is working hard on, is to make sure that when we have news, when the Tibetan service knows something that's going on in Tibet that nobody else knows yet, that we get that on the English language web desk before anyone else breaks that story. So we're trying to integrate the thing and make it the global newsroom that it can and should be. Build on that strength that we do have. We can't be everything and we can't cover every story. We're never going to match the New York Times. The New York Times, I was looking last week, they put 554 stories on their website in one day. You know, no way. We're not in that league. We're not going to be. But we're a good organization. We have certain strengths. We're just in the business right now of posting 6 new jobs on the English web desk, because I also am worried. Now that I see the numbers, it reinforces something that I've been thinking already, which is that we really have to look for ways to up our game in English. There's enormous opportunity there. It is our own language. You look at the 75% of the English VOA audiences in Africa, so it's part of doing Africa right, is getting English right. And we're really going to try to, we were constrained from even hiring anybody for quite a while. And frankly, that desk ran down and down. But we're going to build it back up. As I said, 6 new jobs are about to be posted. And we're going to get some good journalists to join the group that are already there, that are excellent. It's been thin. There's no other, I have to be honest with you. When you have thin resources, you have a thin outcome. But it's a pretty good website for what it does. And I read a lot of blogs saying it's not this, it's not that. If you look at the totality of what VOA does on 49 websites in 45 languages, we're a pretty good news organization.
Well, I would ask, is there an issue here of the integration? So I've started meeting with other media organizations, news organizations, because I don't have a news background. So I want to see how they integrate their standard reporting, whether they're print or whether they're broadcast, and how do they bring it in so that it is a seamless, so they don't have a separate web reporting team.
Right.
Is there a challenge in that the agency is essentially, or the network is essentially siloed, and so you have to be able to pull and essentially repackage the content and put it up? Because, again, I'm not talking about broadly. I'm talking about breaking news, particularly interesting and important news,
right,
that makes us a compelling and useful site. How are you getting that information there?
Central News has over the last period of time built up some things called regional editors. So we have people for each region that work in Central News, and their job is to figure out, well, what have we got in my region that I want to make sure everybody knows about? And to work with the divisions, work with the East Asia Division or the Eurasia Division, to make sure that those stories get plucked out of the Cambodian service and brought to the attention of everybody. And I think that part of the sort of reform and reorganization of Central News in English is going to require us to beef up that capability. It is a little bit, it has been historically siloed. You have to remember that this place started as the way it was organized was Central News wrote stories, and then there were translators and voices to read them in lots of languages. That was it. Now we have strong journalists who speak 45 languages and who know things that those of us born here who speak one, well, I actually speak several, but who speak one, don't know. We've got tremendous strength in this building. It's like a United Nations. It's actually fun to lead such a diverse group.